This has been a real horror-y, nepotism-y, lesbian-y couple of weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah? Yeah?
We love to see it.
Was there nepotism in Fear Street?
Maya Rudolph.
No.
Or
Maya
Hawke.
I knew what you meant as soon as you said it, but I was like, something's wrong with that.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching American Horror Stories.
I need a little thing that makes click noises. Yeah. Where's a pen? I need a clicky pen.
You're just sitting here, click, 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 click. I said it when the credits were rolling, but I was like, they really did that. Like,
Yeah, they did it.
there's of the myriad things to be
Yeah.
said about American Horror Story.
Yeah.
One is that,
They did the theme song.
They did that.
And they did it hard.
and this opening was gorgeous.
Very cool.
Gorgeous.
All the rubber, yeah.
I loved this.
Me too. It was a lot of fun.
10 out of 10, no notes.
And do you want to know why? Do you want to know why?
What?
It was only 2 hours long.
Uh-huh.
There's nowhere to be filling in all sorts of stupid gaps that I didn't even have questions about to start with. It was very one story, and that's it. And I
would venture as far as to say it was about 3 stories, but still, it turns out that like sometimes something does need a restraint.
Yeah.
It does need to have a leash put on it.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that you could just watch this in and of itself. You have never seen anything else and love this.
Yeah.
And watch this and get it. I love that you can have seen all of it and watch this and get it.
Yep.
I like the little nods and homages to some of the other things in the house. I think it's fascinating that we're 10 seasons and a spinoff into the show, and they've finally figured out that the house is the star.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to continue, but I do like
Sure.
sort of.
They're not all in the house.
No.
Okay. Because I do like the house and I do like
Mhm.
the murder house like
I was speaking
stuff,
glib, like,
but I don't want 16 episodes of Murder House.
there's going to be 16 of this. That's too many. That's too many.
Because
There needs to be 10.
yeah, because for 10 whole weeks we are going to be doing
I mean, yeah,
2 American Horror Stories.
that's too many.
Yeah. But that being said, I did really like that the first entry in American Horror Stories was Murder House. It's like a nice, gentle landing spot for all of us who have been in this forever.
And I like that they just picked a story. It had everything that I love from American Horror Story.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gay.
Oh, yeah.
Hilarious.
Yep.
That second episode is hysterical.
Even the first one's pretty funny.
Well, the first one's a lot of like place setting.
Yeah.
But
But even still, it's like the conversations that the dads are having with Scarlett about her sex preferences.
this is camp. Now this is camp.
So funny. Michael is Matt Bomer and Troy is Gavin Creel, who I swear I know from something, and I've never seen anything he's done.
He looks like that Twitter twink. Well, actually, it's a debate as to whether or not he's a twink. But Crawford M. Horton.
Mm,
Do you know who I'm talking about?
I think so.
Who does the lip readings?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
I mean, obviously Crawford's like younger, but
Yeah, I see it.
Gavin Creel, he was hilarious.
So funny.
The casting was so perfect. Okay, it was The Rubber Woman, part 1 and 2.
Yep.
Matt Bomer, Gavin Creel, Sierra McCormick. I don't know her.
So she's in this movie that did kind of a big deal last year called The Vast of Night, which is sort of like a sci-fi thriller movie, which I didn't watch, but Will did.
Mhm.
Apparently it was great. I've heard good things about it, but yeah.
She was good.
Yeah.
She wasn't exactly the most dynamic person. It did take me a few minutes to warm up to her.
I think
But
that was the point, though.
Well, and I will say that, like, when it started, I was like, oh no, I'm not going to be into this at all. And she did a fine job.
Yeah,
It was a decently written role. The premise is that her and her 2 dads move into the murder house because they are going to turn it into a bed and breakfast and make a ton of money.
Like a murdery themed
Mhm.
bed and breakfast.
Which
like,
is actually a great
yeah,
idea.
to cash in on, like, until everybody gets murdered.
Until it's, yeah.
Like
but
the guests, until the guests
Mhm.
get murdered, because all those ghosts are not going to take to it kindly.
I found it very interesting, the exploration of female sexuality.
Sure.
We don't get a lot of that. She has sex, and she masturbates to completion.
Yep.
We see that. That's not a lot. That's something that we get a lot on television.
True. Or movies.
Mm-hmm. The dynamic with the dads was really funny because it was actually like really healthy.
Yeah.
I don't know, the porn stuff. You're right. It does sort of come out of nowhere, but also at a certain point, American Horror Story's got a American Horror Story. Like,
Sure. My issue only was if they had like found the GIMP costume, or if we had one talk
Mhm.
about her having explored this super violent pornography, then it would have made more sense. But it's like they didn't find the GIMP costume, and we never knew that she was looking at this until they were like, do you remember a couple of weeks ago when we found it on your computer?
so it does come out of nowhere, but it definitely doesn't drop. Like
True.
it's there
keeps,
through the
that's
whole
true.
rest of it.
It keeps going.
We have Paris Jackson,
Yeah.
that one.
Yep.
I have a theory that family is talented.
Yeah.
She has a lot of just innate charisma.
Mm.
There's something about her that your eye is drawn. I mean, she's gorgeous.
Well, she's stunning, first of all.
And she has a Kristen Stewart vibe.
She feels already more comfortable in her skin than Kristen Stewart.
Like bone structure.
Oh, face-wise. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She was kind of great in this.
Yeah, no, I thought she was great.
It wasn't a demanding role, but like there was like
She did not embarrass herself.
no, but there was like 3 or 4 lines. Like in particular, I laughed out loud when Scarlett called them after the like live stream, and she was like, "Violent porn hotline. How can I make it?" I thought that was actually so funny.
Yeah.
And I don't know, she really impressed me in a way that I'm really happy. I'm really happy for her. I'm like proud of her. An elephant in the room for me is I've never been a Michael Jackson fan, but that also does allow me to look at it more objectively. And
it's also she's not trying to sing,
sure,
so that is helpful.
And I think I mean, she's one of those stories that I think could have easily gone a different way.
Oh yeah.
And so I think to see her with so much agency.
Yeah. In a fun twist that I think legitimately helped her out, Macaulay Culkin is her godfather.
Ah!
So I'm being so serious.
Yeah,
I think
no,
legitimately it helped her out.
I'm right there.
Yeah. And Liz Taylor was her godmother.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm kind of all for it. We've talked about this a little bit before, but let's go ahead and talk about it again here because it's a factor. How do you feel about nepotism in Hollywood?
I think if the person is talented and they just got their foot in the door, I don't have a huge problem with it.
I really don't either. It's the part of me that loves celebrities and also mythology and royalty, and it just kind of.
I just feel like,
and if they're good, I'm like,
that's the thing. But like, if you're as hot as Paris Jackson or Kaya Gerber, Cindy Crawford's daughter, you're gonna get your foot in the door anyway. And like, Kaya Gerber doesn't even have her mom's last name,
and nor did
she does have her mom's
entire
whole ass face.
I didn't know until you told me.
Yeah.
And she did a good enough job that it didn't. I wasn't like, whose kid is this?
No,
it didn't ping any of my.
I saw like part of one review that was like, I was really hoping this would be good, and then like all the cast is just like other famous people's kids, and I was like, you're only allowed to say that if they're bad.
But it's also at a certain point. I mean, it's like that's kind of the fun of it, and also if they belong anywhere, it's in American Horror Story. Like.
No, 100%. I like, that's the thing is, I guess the biggest argument against nepotism is it's taking a spot away from someone who might deserve it more, but doesn't have the luxury of having been born into the industry. But I mean, that's not their fault.
And it's also not new. I mean, we talk about it like it's like, us media celebrity obsessed millennials and their nepotism, and I'm just sort of like, the Barrymores, like,
yeah, I'm fine.
And it goes back like centuries. There's been like dynasties within industries and stuff like. Again,
I think you have to have the talent to back it up. If you are taking a spot away from somebody who is more talented and will not get the shot that you have, and then you're squandering it because you don't have talent, then I'm mad at you.
I also kind of feel like there's such a glut of content right now. It's not as if there's only 100 roles and they're taking all, like,
sure.
It's just sort of like a rising tide rises all. I don't know.
Yeah.
I loved it. I think I got a thrill out of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What was Scarlett's name?
Sierra McCormick.
Sierra McCormick, hot as balls in the.
Oh,
latex.
in the costume, yeah.
And again, that the patented American Horror Story, the gorgeous, that shot in the first episode with Rubberman on the ceiling,
Yeah.
slowly coming down
Mhm.
towards her. Oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we're kind of setting ourselves up for failure a little bit with how much we enjoyed this. But again,
Yeah.
that was part of the fun of American Horror Story in general, and also this new format is if you don't like this one, then come back next week. Maybe
Yeah.
you'll like that one.
I
Like,
definitely agree. I also think it was wise to not pull in every single previous
Yes,
person in
yes.
this episode. It was just Matt Bomer. He's the only one I've seen before. And then like Celia Finkelstein, Gladys the nurse in Murder House. But that was like, you know, a couple like tiny things here and there, but like generally
inside jokes too. and
everybody was new. The incomparable Marin Dungy.
always the right choice.
Always.
Marin Dungy.
Love her.
And that was because when I saw what they were doing, I was like, this feels like a waste of Marin Dungy. Like when she like went to go to the bathroom,
Yeah.
and then I was like, oh, it's not. And also, again, hilarious. I
Her
love.
comedic timing is just ridiculous. And okay, my biggest complaint is I didn't want multiple more people that we've had on American Horror Story before. I demand Dylan McDermott in this episode, and he was not there because Marin Dungy just kept talking about the other therapist that's trapped here, and I was like, he cannot be busy enough that he couldn't swing by for one day.
And it needed to be like a blink and you miss it cameo.
Yeah.
Like not a
No.
But no, I loved that she was just totally plussed
Yeah.
about like what had happened, and I like that she was just sort of like, I'm gonna make the best of it, and they
Yeah.
were working on a book and like can't hold her down. That was
Yeah.
so funny.
And she kept on just being like, I think we need to schedule a therapy session.
And she was insisting herself upon them.
Yeah.
Because there's even a line where he's like, why did you even like bring her back? And he's like, she was here when I got home.
Yeah.
It's like, I like that she was like, like they're her therapy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It was hilarious. It's great one-liners. Let's get blitzed on Xanax and edibles and watch The Crown.
Sure.
I mentioned the healthy family dynamic earlier, and it was funny.
They had such a fun marriage. What Michael and Troy. It was just like you could tell that they had been to therapy before, like the two of
it was
them.
very modern. It
was modern. It was good. It was like very. Again, it felt really healthy until you introduced the Aaron Tveit of it all. This was a wealth of hot dudes.
He's not getting
Uglier?
Yeah. Oh, and we've seen him in person.
He was. Ugh. Well, yeah, he was so close. He looked me right in my peepers.
The three of them were so funny together, especially in that second episode. I was like when Matt Bomer was like, "You're cruel." I was like, "Ooh, this is getting good."
Let's
like,
get in it.
The Aaron Tveit just being down to clown. That's like this series, and it's in particular this outing was very yes and in a way that
this was also such a weird departure of a role for him because he's done so much drama. I don't think I've ever seen him in something comedic. Like,
I mean, he's done, but
he's had like jokes, but I've never seen him be like in a comedy.
Or he's like the Ignorless from Les Miserables, like the stars in his eyes.
You know, and Christian in Moulin Rouge, which is how we saw him in person. But I just loved him being sort of unhinged and just like, down to clown hard for whatever.
Also featured one of the best songs ever, Hetzel Roll. The Yeah Yeahs, that whole haunted montage. I guess honestly, if I had a critique, I do wish there was a slight bridge between the first and second episode.
After we watched it, I saw what you meant about that.
I was like, it's a continuation of the same story, but I was like,
it just pick up.
She has a girlfriend, and because I started to say like, who is this chick? But then I was like, does it matter? I mean, we kind of got there.
Really.
Like,
I really enjoyed that. At the end of the day, this was kind of about a group of girls getting over themselves.
So funny. I could have used a little bit more of that too.
I love that they just literally at the last minute were like, bygones, get your shit. get to pack it.
I suppose.
Yeah, they're like, fine, whatever. I just sort of loved that because, like,
real feel-good ending to
really
a very
was.
strange.
And I feel like it's the type of thing that, like, in the real seasons of American Horror Story, they're always going for, like, the one step that's too far past gruesome and tragic and horrible. And, like, I love that this was just sort of on an up note.
Well,
She was like, she comes back for me every Halloween.
Well, frankly, it's one of the reasons why we liked Apocalypse so much, just because Apocalypse was like a straight fantasy show.
Yeah.
And it ended on like this like really nice note, and like for the most part, I think there was like a sting at the end.
The apocalypse was happening again.
Yeah. And the other thing, okay, honest to God, the other thing, it was just light. Yeah. It was just light, and I enjoyed myself, and I kind of can't wait to watch the next one.
Yeah, same. I had a really good time. I will say, I hope a couple of these people, especially some of the girls, I hope they filter into the rest of the season in other roles.
We're getting Emma Roberts in stories.
Okay, cool. I was going to say, especially Kaya Gerber and Paris Jackson, but I do think the other three girls from the Mean Girl group, I thought they were decent. And one of them, it was like her very first thing ever. And I just was like, you're pretty good. Mm-hmm. So I'm into it. I liked it a lot. I had a good time.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up.
I know you belong to somebody new, but tonight.
Oh, you're not going to finish?